Hey everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and today I am joined by my mentor, my sensei, my master splinter, Jarrod Saunders, obviously the editor of Fortress of Solitude. How are you, sir?
What a welcome that is, huh?
You're not going to get it every single time.
You compare me to a rat that raises little turtle.
Well, hopefully you're a rat that brings us pizza. That would be amazing. But only with pineapple on the pizza. So I don't care. I'm a heathen. I'm willing to do that. But thank you so much for joining me today, man. We actually have a really cool topic we're going to be discussing. We had the really, really cool opportunity to watch the first episode of Superman and Lois. Literally the brand new CW series. And we received some early access and we had an opportunity to check it out.
To get Warner Brothers to send us that screener, that pilot screener, which was very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm super happy that they did that, and it was cool to check it out because I'll be honest with you. The first time I heard of the series, I wasn't convinced about it because I've been following Tyler's Superman in the Arrowverse, and I've seen him in some things, and it's been okay, but I've always kind of felt that he was a second-rate character. I've always felt that, they've cemented Supergirl as, that's the main lead that they want in that series. I always felt that he was a bit of a secondary character. And I always thought, I'm not seeing enough of him to kind of judge, to say, look, he's a good Superman or he's a bad Superman or whatever. So when they announced the series, I was like, oh, okay, another CW series. It's, it's going to be bad special effects and, a wedding. And, I wasn't looking forward to it that much, but then a trailer dropped, and it was a really good trailer with a Zack Snyder sort of effect, and everyone was like, whoa, hold on a second, this doesn't look cheap anymore. This actually looks really good. Yeah,
I was just as surprised. As you know, I've always referred to the dude as the Italian Superman because he doesn't have this conventional Superman look, the way Henry Cavill or Christopher Reeve or any of those guys. He doesn't have the same look as they do, or the same performance either. Because if you watch Supergirl, the stuff that he did, he came across as this kind of scrawny Superman, even in comparison to Brandon Ruth. He looked like this, sort of timid Superman. And then I watched the trailer for this and I was like, whoa, this is completely different from anything that I've seen before. This is they're sort of bringing Man of Steel, Superman Returns, all this stuff, everything we loved about Superman, the different movies and stuff. They brought it into one TV show. Even when you watch the show, there's these iconic moments, that's captured in the show where it's like straight from the comic books or inspired by something that happened in Man of Steel or something that happened in Superman Returns. And they brought all that Superman stuff into one TV show, which was, it was amazing.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to get discussing the pilot right now. And I'm going to go right off the bat here, and I'm going to say I was pleasantly surprised. I've always, with trailers, I'm always a little bit skeptical, even as good as I got my hype up, which is great. That's exactly what the trailer should have done. It did the right thing. But actually watching the show, I was like, this is really good. I actually sat there and I thought to myself, wow, this feels different. It doesn't feel like, like a CW show. It felt like, that it wasn't like the villain of the week sort of format. It was, there was a story that was being laid down, some groundwork. It kind of felt, lack of comparison in terms of a lot of DC shows out there. I think because, they all go in sort of different directions. But I think what Marvel was doing with the Netflix stuff, with,
exactly.
Daredevil, I wouldn't say it's dark. The tone is not there. It's more like a family drama, but in the sense of the way it's telling its story, the way the storytelling is going, you can see it's going to be spanned out over the whole series versus okay, this episode, Superman needs to, beat up, whoever, it comes to the planet now, and the next episode, I didn't get that feeling from it, of course. Things can change.
It's nothing like Smallville at all. Yeah, it's not like there's this, kryptonite in different. Every week there's a different guy with silly powers that gets red kryptonite and he becomes I don't know. You know,
one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, like you say that though about Smallville, but I still get like that sort of like, you know, family sort of drama vibe of like Smallville. I still get it. It doesn't have the villain of the week format, but I still get it. Like I said, I mean, and I think, you know, I put this in the review that I put together recently. Like it felt like the perfect merge of Donner's Superman and Smallville. You know, it took the best out of those things. And as you said, I mean, I can see, you know, definitely the Man of Steel sort of thing going on there as well, and definitely Superman Returns, but definitely Donner's Superman in terms of going with that wholesome sort of Clark, and, you know, a little bit goofy, but like, you know, really down to earth, like a really good guy. Just all that he wants to do is like what's good for his family, and you know, he wants to save the world at the same time, and he's conflicted. And I just thought that, you know, they nailed that. Like I just thought, you know, Tyler's performance was just, I was like, for the first time, I was like, okay, now I see it. Now I understand why they cast you as Superman. You are behaving like Clark Kent.
Yeah. And what's cool about the pilot episode is that they have these moments. It's not about action and these, you know, these big blockbuster scenes. I mean, there is a pretty big fight scene that happens, but it's not about that. It's about these moments where he's Clark and, you know, stuff happens to him, and he reacts to that emotionally the way Superman would. You know, he's brave when Superman needs to be brave, but he has this very human side, something that's probably missing from a lot of Henry Cavill's Superman, you know, the Man of Steel movies. It shows a more, you know, the side that people connected with in terms of Superman, like the human side of him, not so much the alien stuff.
Look, I mean, I'll disagree with you there on that one, because I do feel that, you know, they're on two different journeys of their lives. Like I could kind of see Tyler's Superman as being, you know, Cavill's Superman at a later stage. Like he's grown up now, he's married Lois, and I think where we're at in Man of Steel's journey, especially, you know, in Batman vs Superman, it's still early days, you know, he's figuring it out. And for me, I enjoy that in the sense of an origin story, in sense of him becoming Superman. I think, you know, it's always been Snyder's, you know, it's a journey of Superman, versus here with Tyler, he already is Superman. He already is the Superman that we all know and love. And I think that, yes, it's going to appeal. I completely get you. Like the old school fans are going to be like, yes, this is my Superman, you know, and you're excited. But I do think, you know, Cavill's one was on the journey, but they're just two different Supermen, like on the journey, basically. That's the way I see it anyways.
This guy is sort of, he's been Superman for a while, and he's sort of weighing up being Superman and spending time with his family, which is a very different place in life.
Yeah. And I mean, look, the other thing that I thought was quite interesting, and I mean, it's something we do need to discuss, and I mean, this is no spoiler by any means because it's out there. It's the fact that, you know, in this series, he's got two sons.
Yes.
You know, Jordan and Jonathan. And I thought that was like, I'll be honest, at first I wasn't entirely convinced. I was like, okay, why the changes? Because normally it's Jonathan, you know, and he's now actually like Superboy and the leader of the Legion of Superheroes in the comics. And I always thought, okay, but why are they adding another one? Like, what is this really necessary? But I must admit, like, it actually worked. The dynamic, especially between the brothers and the parents, I understand why they did it. And I'm actually invested. Like, I really am invested in this. I'm like, okay, I'm keen to see what happens with these two kids.
Yeah. Well, you know what I loved about it is that the two kids are so different from each other. So it sort of shows like the different personalities of Superman as well. You know, like the one is sort of like this jock, brave, strong one, and the other is sort of timid and, you know, he feels like misplaced in the world, which I think really it shows both sides of his character, which was, you know, really smartly done. The other thing is both those kids, their acting was really, really on point. Like, there was a moment really where I was like, this isn't real. You know, they convinced me that they were going through the emotions.
I also think what was quite nice, as you said with that, it's like you can kind of see Jonathan Kent basically being, as you said, Superman, and Jordan being Clark Kent, like Clark Kent growing up. You can kind of see, as you said, you see the duality there, like split, you know, the personality into both kids, which is really, and you can see elements of Lois as well, you know, in terms of especially Jonathan, I think being fearless, you can see that, and you know, the smart nature as well of Jordan definitely comes from Lois. So it's it's interesting. I got to say the dynamic's really, really good. And I think the supporting cast members as well, like, Lois Lane, I mean, I'm convinced, the actress Elizabeth, she's really, really good. And
and again, she, in the other shows, she never got much time to show off her being Lois Lane, and she does. She's a lot different from what I initially thought. This is a very different character, more interesting character.
She kind of reminds me a little bit, to be honest, of Margot Kidder mixed with Terry Hatcher from Lois and Clark. Like, she just reminds me of that sort of performance, And I think it's a really good, like, sort of direction. And obviously there are other supporting characters, which we're not going to spoil and, like, put it out there too much, because you need to watch it. I mean, there are some cool surprises in it, and I think a lot of fans are going to be super happy about it. I mean, I can't wait to see what Twitter's going to do, like, once it drops.
Some of them they might not be so happy about some of the choices, but we won't say much about that.
Look in the comment section afterwards, so that'll be fun. But the other thing is, obviously, I mean, we've had discussions about this in private, and I mean, I know, for example, you're not the biggest fan of the Arrowverse. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the shows, and I'll admit, like, there have been drops in quality across the board. I mean, I've always been, I mean, I watched Arrow from beginning to end, and I mean, there were moments that, like, I struggled to stay on with the show, especially, I think, season 3, season 4, there were, like, drastic dips in quality, and even The Flash to a certain degree. I was not impressed with the last season at all, and a lot of shows have been hit and miss, the likes of Supergirl, even Batwoman, Black Lightning. It's just, sometimes it's just, it feels like they get something right and then they go off the rails. Yeah. But tell me, do you feel like you're inspired now to actually find out more about the Arrowverse by watching Superman and Lois? Or are you still like, what, I would just rather just watch the show instead of investing time into the Superman?
I was telling somebody about Superman today, and I said that you don't have to watch the other shows to enjoy this. It's sort of its own thing in its own. It's almost like a multiverse thing where it's, the other characters aren't really involved with Superman's life, and you don't have to watch any of that to know what's going on. You could pick this up and just watch it without knowing what's happening in the Flash or any of those things, which is really great. Because the other thing I wanted to say is I watched pilots of all those shows, like Flash, Batwoman, and I gave up on all of them after the first episode, because I was like, this is another Smallville sort of thing. It's the same. It's going to be the same formula. Every episode is going to catch some bad guy. It's going to be the same sort of thing. The After Effects, visual effects. It's it's the same thing over and over and over and over. It's the suits change here and there, but it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, same format.
But this felt different. This felt like they actually had a story to tell. I mean, even with the Krypton show, what was it called? Was it called Krypton? Yeah, that was Krypton, it was sort of also became like I mean, they used Man of Steel stuff in there, but it didn't feel like a Superman show. Where this feels like a Superman show, like
I get you.
All aspects of Superman, it covers that, which is really cool.
You see, like, what I think is quite nice as well, and it's something we touched upon earlier, like briefly, is the production value of the show. I think that, and I mean, it was something I was reading about, with the showrunners, and they were saying that they know the streaming wars are on. They know HBO Max is breathing down the neck, because this is obviously a CW show. This is not, I mean, I don't know if it'll end up on HBO Max. I'm not certain what the agreement is there, but the thing is that they know that there's a lot of competition out there. They know there are a lot of shows out there, and the streaming services are spending a lot of money. And I think they've upped the production game. They're like, okay, you know what? If now HBO Max can make their own superhero shows, like, I mean, they're going to be doing Peacemaker and the Batman cop show, the Gotham show they got there. And obviously, you've got Disney Plus putting out WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. You suddenly know, okay, these things are like high production values. I mean, you look at WandaVision, I mean, $250 million. I mean, that's what they're saying it's costing. I mean, I've already said it. I don't know how, but it's like that is how much it's costing. That's a huge investment. The CW needs to up it, because they need to like now say, okay, we are competing with these shows. We need to have better production values. We need to have better scripts, better storytelling, better special effects, everything. And I mean, I got to say, like the special effects on the show, yeah, sure, maybe they're not as blockbuster special effects, but I thought they were still pretty decent. And I mean, I think that's the thing. It was convincing enough. It wasn't like I was turned off. It wasn't like the Flash, for example, that sometimes I think they're still busy doing the stuff on creative on a Pentium 1 or something. It's sometimes the special effects like, it looks really bad. I mean, I can always tell when the Flash has run out of money. It's usually by the middle of the season. And this time it's not like that, it's like it actually looks really good. And I really do hope that it continues like this. The pilot was super strong, and I'm just hoping that it carries on because it shows a lot of promise. Yeah.
And what was surprising is that the screener we watched was actually the visual effects wasn't complete, and it still looked good. It looked watchable, it still looked a hell of a lot better than The Flash or any of those shows. And it wasn't complete. I mean, you could hear there were bits of music missing here and there, but it still looked fantastic. It looked great,
Yeah, it was like 95% there, basically, Yeah, that's the thing. It looks really good. Yeah, man. But it's been really cool. And thank you so much for joining me to discuss this. It's been really, really awesome. I'm actually excited for us to actually be discussing even more episodes going forward. Who knows? Maybe I'll get some podcast.
I'm looking forward to more episodes.
Maybe we should just spin off podcast. What do you think? Like we just call it like the Fortress of Solitude, Superman and Lois podcast. We just no, I'm just kidding. It might be a little bit too much, but I still think it's cool to discuss the show. I'm looking forward to
we couldn't talk about some of the spoilers though, because those are like the talking points of if people wanted to get excited about the show, it's those little spoilers, the stuff that they told us we couldn't mention that would really get them excited.
No, for sure. But look, at the same time, I do know that some of those spoilers are out there on the net. And I don't want to be like contributing. I strongly believe the whole spoiler culture is it's gone a little bit out of hand. It's where's the enjoyment of watching a show? And I still believe, the show on its merits alone, without going into spoilers, there's so much to enjoy. And I think after you watch the show and you see certain things, oh, wow, this is amazing. Things that have happened. And look, what I can say is that this is going in a direction which is familiar, but it's also going in a direction that we haven't gone before with Superman. It's a new Superman.
And certainly for the Arrowverse as well. The Arrowverse has never been looked or felt or been written this good so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So but Jarrod, thank you so much, man, for joining me, and we'll definitely be chatting again. To everyone else tuning in, thanks again, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and drop us a comment down below and let us know what you'd like us to discuss in the future, or if you have any topic suggestions of your own, just reach out. Until next time, cheers.